No one in that courtroom expected his name. The air was already thick with tension. Diddy's trial had been a storm of explosive allegations, from hidden tapes to shocking testimonies. But when the prosecutor paused, glanced at the jury, and calmly said, "This next statement involves Justin Bieber," the entire room froze. Jaws dropped. Reporters stopped typing. And Diddy, he didn't move a muscle. What followed was a name drop that lit the internet on fire. Fans were stunned. Was Bieber involved? Did he witness something? Was he another victim? The courtroom, once buzzing with whispers, went dead silent as the prosecution revealed that Bieber had allegedly been present at a private gathering described in multiple witness accounts. An event now being re-examined under federal investigation. And it didn't stop there. Cryptic photos, secret DMs, and an old forgotten interview surfaced within hours, painting a haunting timeline that connected Bieber to events no one expected. People who once dismissed the trial as just another celebrity scandal were now locked in, unable to look away. Was Justin just a name called in a storm, or a silent witness to something darker? Tonight, we're diving deep into how one moment in court turned the Diddy case upside down, and why Justin Bieber's name might be the key that changes everything. Stay right here. The courtroom lights buzzed faintly overhead, as if they too were holding their breath. It was day 17 of the Diddy trial, and up until this moment, the focus had been fixed on testimonies from former assistants, bodyguards, and artists, all painting a dark, disturbing picture of control, power, and manipulation. But as the prosecutor flipped through a stack of papers and leaned into the mic, everyone could sense something different was about to happen. We now enter a section of evidence concerning a private industry party held in 2015, the prosecutor, said calmly. The individual in question, Justin Bieber. The room froze. Reporters blinked. Phones slipped from hands. A murmur rippled across the gallery like a chill. The judge, who had remained stone-faced for weeks, raised his eyebrows slightly. Diddy sat motionless, eyes fixed forward, but his jaw clenched for the first time. Even his own lawyers looked stunned. Fans watching the live courtroom feed on social media exploded in confusion. Was this real? Why was Bieber being mentioned? Was he a witness? Or something else entirely? The prosecutor continued. According to sworn testimony, Mr. Bieber was present at a private gathering in Los Angeles hosted by Mr. Combs, where several incidents now under federal investigation took place. He paused. We are not accusing Mr. Bieber of wrongdoing. However, his presence at this event is relevant to establishing pattern, access, and timeline. That's all it took to shatter the internet. Within minutes, old footage of Justin and Diddy began surfacing across TikTok and Twitter. Interviews, award shows, Instagram lives. Fans had always speculated about their relationship. Some called Diddy a mentor to Bieber. Others thought it was a typical industry connection. But now, under the harsh light of a federal courtroom, it all looked different. Darker blogs ran wild. Headlines screamed, Bieber linked to Diddy party now under investigation. And what did Justin know? And while his team issued a quick statement saying he was cooperating fully and has no involvement in any criminal activity, the damage was done. The connection was real. And people wanted answers. Sources close to the case said that the party in question was hosted at a lavish mansion in the Hollywood Hills. Our guest list? Exclusive. Celebrities, models, executives. The night was filled with champagne, private performances, and according to multiple witnesses, disturbing moments that had gone unspoken for nearly a decade. And Justin? He had allegedly arrived early and stayed late. One witness, who testified anonymously, stated under oath, I remember seeing Justin. He was quiet, didn't drink. He seemed out of place, like he didn't belong, but he was definitely there. Another said, he was hanging around Diddy most of the night. They kept going upstairs. No one knew what was going on up there. What happened upstairs? That's the question investigators have been chasing. And now, with Bieber's name in the mix, those questions carried even more weight. A former assistant to Diddy who took the stand with visible hesitation added another layer to the mystery. We were told to make sure cameras were off, and no one recorded anything past 10 p.m. If anyone pulled their phone out, it got confiscated. She glanced around the courtroom, her voice trembling. That night, something wasn't right. Shockwaves. Defense tried to redirect, claiming Bieber's name was being used as a distraction. Mr. Combs has hosted hundreds of events, one lawyer said. You can't hold him accountable for everyone who shows up, but the prosecution wasn't backing down. We're not alleging responsibility, we're establishing consistency. Behind the scenes, Justin's team was reportedly in crisis. Mode. Insiders say his inner circle immediately began reviewing old travel logs, social posts, and text exchanges. They're trying to see if anything connects back to that night, a source said. They're scared. Not because he did anything, but because being tied to this case, even by proximity, is dangerous. And it wasn't just his team scrambling. Fans across the world were rewatching old Bieber interviews, looking for clues. One clip from 2016 resurfaced, Justin on a late-night talk show, laughing nervously when asked about Hollywood parties. I try not to go out too much, he said. Some of those scenes, they're not for me. Another clip from a 2015 vlog showed him arriving at an event in a black SUV where Diddy was already waiting. They embraced, they walked inside, and the footage cut off right at the door. Some called it coincidence, others called it evidence. Meanwhile, the courtroom grew more intense. Cassie's lawyer, who had been carefully listening to every word, stood and requested that sealed documents be reopened. We have reason to believe that additional names were redacted in the original witness statements. Names that may include other high-profile individuals, she said. The judge ordered a recess. Outside, cameras flashed as people exited the building. Reporters screamed questions. Was Bieber at the freak-off? Will he testify? What does Diddy have to say about it? No one answered, but inside the building, whispers swirled that something massive had just been uncovered. By the end of the day, one thing was clear. This wasn't just Diddy's trial anymore. It was becoming a full-blown unraveling of a powerful circle, one that had existed quietly for years, protected by fame, money, and silence, and Justin Bieber. Whether he wanted to or not, he was now in the middle of it. The question was no longer was he there. The question now was, what did he see? And just like that, the courtroom prepared for a bombshell testimony. Not from Bieber, but from someone who had been at that party too. Someone who said they saw Justin that night, and what happened just moments before everything changed. Dimly lit, quiet, and filled with a tension that could cut through bone. The next witness was already seated. In the waiting room outside the courtroom, a woman in her early 30s dressed in muted tones, her hands shaking slightly as she gripped a sealed folder. Her name was never revealed to the public. The court had granted her full anonymity due to the sensitive nature of her testimony. She would be known only as Witness M, but what she was about to say would shake everything. Inside the courtroom, people shifted in their seats as the doors opened. Witness M walked in slowly, glanced toward the jury, then lowered her gaze. The prosecutor approached gently, asking her to recall what she saw on the night of that now infamous party in 2015. The same party that Justin Bieber was now publicly linked to. I remember Justin arriving, she said quietly. He looked confused, like he didn't know why he was there. She went on to describe the mansion's layout, the number of security personnel, and the unnerving rule that all phones were to be turned in upon entry. She described loud music, dim lights, and an upper level of the house that only a handful of people were allowed to access. Diddy was upstairs most of the time, she said, and I remember Justin going up there with him. The prosecutor leaned in. How long was he up there? Maybe 45 minutes, maybe more. Gasp rippled through the courtroom. And when he came back down, the prosecutor asked. Witness M paused. He didn't look the same. He looked distant, like something had changed. The room fell into silence. Defense attorneys objected, claiming speculation and emotional bias. The judge allowed the testimony to continue. The witness described other details, specific rooms, faces, sounds, but it was her final remark that made everyone stop breathing. I saw Justin standing by the stairs, and then I saw Cassie walk past him. She looked afraid. She was trying to leave, but Diddy called her back upstairs. The entire courtroom locked eyes on Diddy, who shifted slightly in his seat, breaking his usual stillness. The judge called for a recess almost immediately. Outside, reporters were already on their phones. The internet exploded within minutes. Justin Bieber witnessed Cassie trying to flee party, one blog posted. Courtroom witness places Bieber at heart of Diddy's dark secrets, another claimed. Backstage, a source close to Bieber's legal team confirmed he had been notified of the testimony hours before it became public. They knew this was coming, the source said. They're working with federal investigators to clarify Justin's role, or lack of one, in what was happening that night. But the public wasn't satisfied with silence. Fans and critics demanded clarity. Some pleaded with Justin to make a statement. Others questioned how much he truly knew and why he never said anything. After all, this wasn't just about guilt. It was about conscience. On Instagram, an old friend of Bieber's posted a cryptic message. We all saw things we didn't understand back then, but silence doesn't protect the innocent. The post was deleted within the hour, but not before screenshots spread like wildfire. Across Twitter and TikTok, fans dug even deeper. Footage from old concerts, backstage interactions, and 2015-era after-party vlogs were dissected for clues. One particular video resurfaced showing Justin sitting in the back of an SUV, staring blankly while Diddy talked animatedly next to him. I gave him the world," Diddy had said in the clip. But you gotta be ready for it. The tone of that moment now felt different, more sinister. As public pressure mounted, a leaked memo from Diddy's defense team revealed their private concerns. If Bieber testifies, we lose control of the narrative, the note reportedly read. His public image will shift the jury's perception. It was clear they weren't worried about guilt. They were worried about influence. Meanwhile, Justin's camp remained silent, but behind the scenes, preparations were being made. According to insiders, federal agents had already spoken with Justin, informally, quietly, and without media involvement. He was reportedly cooperative, but vague on details. He remembers parts of the night, one official said, but not all. There were substances involved. The environment was chaotic. The world didn't care. The name was out. The courtroom had gone silent, but the noise outside, it was deafening. And as the trial continued, a new surprise witness was called. This time, it was someone from Justin's own past, a former tour manager who had been with him during that very time in 2015 and when he took the stand. What he said next left even the jury visibly shaken. I tried to keep him away from Diddy, the man said. I told his team multiple times, this environment isn't safe for someone like Justin. But no one listened. The prosecutor asked why. He looked toward the jury. Because fame is louder than warnings. The courtroom fell into silence once again. Outside, people waited for one thing. Would Justin speak? Would he come forward? And if he did, would he tell everything? Because at this point, the question was no longer was he there. The question was, will he finally say what he saw? And as the trial headed into its most explosive week yet, the world waited. Eyes locked on a pop star who had stayed silent for far too long. Paparazzi cameras swarmed outside a gated Beverly Hills estate as black SUVs rolled in and out without pause. Helicopters hovered. Reporters shouted from behind metal barricades. Why? Because Justin Bieber had finally broken his silence. Not with a statement, not with a tweet, but with a private closed-door meeting with federal prosecutors and a promise that he would cooperate fully with the investigation. Word spread like wildfire. Justin Bieber was preparing to testify. It wasn't scheduled. It wasn't planned. It wasn't even public knowledge until one high-level insider leaked it to a celebrity news outlet with a single explosive line. He's ready to talk, and what he remembers could shift everything. Back in court, the atmosphere changed overnight. The judge ordered increased security. Multiple seats in the gallery were blocked off. Diddy's defense lawyers filed an emergency motion to delay proceedings, claiming new information had unfairly shifted the direction of the trial. The motion was denied, and then the moment arrived. Justin entered the courthouse through a private side entrance. His face was pale, his hands were clenched, his legal team surrounded him, shielding him from every camera. There were no jokes, no nods, no smiles. This was not the Justin Bieber the world had known. This was a man walking into a storm, dragged there by a past that wouldn't stay buried. Inside the courtroom, tension rippled through every seat as the prosecutor asked him to confirm the night in question. 2015 Hollywood Hills The Party, hosted by Diddy. Justin cleared his throat. I was there, he said quietly. I remember the house. I remember who invited me. He said he hadn't planned to stay long, but the vibe had quickly turned dark. There were cameras being taken at the door. Security asked us to hand over phones. I thought it was normal industry stuff at the time. Then came the question that made the entire courtroom lean forward. What do you remember seeing upstairs? Justin paused, long enough that the judge gently reminded him to respond. His voice cracked slightly. I remember loud music, people yelling. I didn't know what was going on, but I remember Cassie. She was crying. She looked scared. The courtroom went silent. The prosecutor leaned in. Did you see Diddy? Justin nodded. Yes, he was with her. I walked by. I didn't want to be there anymore. I left. Gasps echoed through the gallery. The defense immediately objected, claiming emotional manipulation and lack of factual substance. But the damage was done. Justin Bieber had confirmed what multiple witnesses had only implied, that something dark had happened that night, and that Cassie had not been okay. Outside, social media lit up like a wildfire. Bieber testifies began trending worldwide. Reaction videos, breakdowns, and conspiracy theories flooded every platform. Some fans were shocked, others were heartbroken, and some were furious that it had taken this long for the truth to surface. But it wasn't over yet. The prosecutor presented a photo, grainy, time-stamped, of Justin Bieber in that house on that night. In the background, Cassie walking past him, clearly distressed. The courtroom gasped again. The photo had never been public, and now it was exhibited. The defense scrambled to discredit the image. Context matters, they argued. Photos don't prove anything, but the timeline was too aligned, too exact. Too damning. And then came the next blow. Another witness, an industry choreographer who had been at the party, stepped forward for the first time. She said she'd seen Justin try to leave twice, but that someone had blocked the exit. He looked trapped, she said. And after that night, he stopped coming to those parties. Completely disappeared from that scene. The courtroom listened, stunned, and fans began connecting dots. Justin's sudden change in image after 2015, his hiatus, his mental health breakdowns, his mysterious retreat from the spotlight. Could all of it be connected to that night? One psychologist on Twitter wrote, "It's possible Justin Bieber suffered psychological trauma from witnessing something deeply disturbing in an environment he didn't fully understand." The internet began spiraling. Every public moment from the past 10 years was now being seen with new eyes. And every silence, every song lyric, every distant interview, re-examined for clues. Meanwhile, Cassie's legal team released a statement. "We appreciate Mr. Bieber's courage to come forward. The truth has power." And today we saw a piece of it. Diddy's defense, panicking, called for a private sidebar with the judge. They argued the media attention surrounding Bieber's testimony had turned the trial into a circus. The judge disagreed. "The facts speak for themselves," she said firmly. "Celebrity or not, the witness has confirmed relevant events. This case continues," and so it did. But the shift was undeniable. Diddy, once calm and smug, now stared forward. In silence, his lawyers whispering frantically beside him. Justin was escorted out of the courtroom under heavy protection. He didn't speak to the press, but as he stepped into the black SUV and the door shut behind him, one thing became clear. His voice had changed the direction of the trial. And now everyone was wondering if Justin Bieber was brave enough to speak. Who else might come forward next? Because once the silence is broken, the truth has a way of dragging everything else into the light. And the next witness waiting outside, they weren't just another name, they were someone who had worked inside Diddy's home for years. And what they were about to reveal would blow everything wide open. Again, witness number 19 had just entered the courtroom, and unlike the others, this one didn't need a name drop to shake the room. Everyone in the building already knew who she was. Her identity had been whispered about in industry circles for years, but she had never spoken publicly. Now, under oath, she was finally ready. They called her Marie in court. She was Diddy's former live-in house manager, and what she carried wasn't just testimony, it was the kind of truth that doesn't just burn bridges, it demolishes entire reputations. Marie began softly, "I worked for Mr. Combs from 2014 to 2018. I saw things no one should ever see." The prosecutor nodded. "Can you confirm if you were present at the Hollywood Hills residence in 2015 during the event in question?" "Yes," she said firmly. I was the one who cleaned up after it. A stunned silence filled the courtroom. Marie continued, voice growing steadier. I remember Justin Bieber being there. He was polite. He stayed close to the entrance most of the night. I could tell he didn't feel comfortable. Then she paused. But what I remember most is Cassie. She described finding her in the kitchen after midnight, barefoot, crying, makeup smeared, asking where her driver was. She said she wanted to go home, Marie whispered. But Mr. Combs told her she couldn't leave yet. That there were still people he needed her to meet. The entire courtroom felt like it had been dropped into ice water. Marie then revealed something no one expected. There were private surveillance cameras installed throughout the mansion, not the ones the security team monitored, but a hidden internal system that only Diddy had access to. He watched people. Marie said he recorded what they did in his house. He used it to control them later. The judge's eyes narrowed. The prosecution froze. Even Diddy looked rattled. Did you ever see Justin Bieber on those recordings? The prosecutor asked. Marie nodded slowly. Yes, once. He was standing in the upstairs hallway. He looked lost and scared. The room went cold. She then detailed the cleanup process after the party, the items she found, the clothes left behind, the broken glasses, the empty prescription bottles. There was a room, she said, one that was always locked. Only Mr. Combs had the key, but that night it was open. I saw things I wish I hadn't. The defense tried to stop her. They objected. They pushed for redaction. The judge allowed the testimony to continue. Marie pulled out a handwritten logbook, her own notes, dates, times, entries she kept to protect herself. In one entry she had written, Justin left early. Cassie begged to go, Diddy furious. She handed the logbook to the court clerk. The prosecutor turned to the jury. This is what control looks like, she said. This is what fear leaves behind. Social media imploded. Live feeds broadcast outside the courthouse were flooded with reactions. Fans cried. Others demanded action. People reposted Bieber's songs, now analyzing lyrics for meaning. Was Where Are You Now really just a pop track or a cry for help? Meanwhile, Justin remained hidden. Sources close to him said he was emotionally wrecked after testifying. He's reliving a trauma he didn't fully understand when it happened. One insider said he was young, he was famous, but he wasn't protected. And now the world knew it. But Marie wasn't finished. She described being threatened by Diddy's inner circle after she left his employment. They told me to keep quiet, that I'd regret it if I spoke. She said she moved 3 times, changed phone numbers, lived in fear for years. But seeing what's happening now, I couldn't stay silent anymore. The courtroom applauded. The judge banged her gavel. Our order, she said, but her voice cracked. Outside, protesters began gathering, not against Justin, not even against the system, but against the culture that allowed this to go on for years unchecked. Signs read, protect the silent, believe the shadows, and Justin saw it. How many others did too? The ripple was real. The next day, Cassie returned to the courtroom. No makeup, no entourage, just herself. As she passed the media line, a reporter shouted, Cassie, do you believe Justin helped the case? She stopped, looked straight into the camera. Yes, she said. He saw what no one else wanted to see, and now they can. Pretend it didn't happen. Then she walked inside. Diddy's lawyers were falling apart. They filed motion after motion to suppress the logbook, to discredit Marie, to delay proceedings. Every motion was denied. The judge had had enough, but there was still one more move coming. A sealed witness, flown in overnight. Someone who hadn't been mentioned before. Someone who had ties to Diddy, to Cassie, and to Bieber. This person's testimony would be the final twist in a case already bursting with betrayal, silence, and shattered illusions. Because the truth doesn't just destroy careers, it exposes legacies. And what this last witness had to say would change the way we root cut through every whisper in the courtroom. The judge adjusted her robe. The clerk called the next name, and the door opened slowly to reveal a face no one expected. It was Alicia Mendez, a former tour assistant who had worked closely with both Diddy's and Justin's teams in the mid-2010s. Her name had never surfaced before. No leaks, no mentions. She had remained invisible. Until now, as she walked in, reporters flipped pages, courtroom artists sharpened pencils, and even Diddy's lead attorney stiffened in his chair. Because they knew this was the one they hadn't prepared for. The prosecutor didn't waste time. Miss Miz. Mendez, she began, were you present at the 2015 party in question? Yes, Alicia answered calmly. Did you interact with Justin Bieber that evening? I did. I was assigned to coordinate his arrival and exit. The courtroom leaned. In. Can you describe his demeanor? Alicia inhaled slowly. Justin was nervous. The moment he walked in, he pulled me aside and asked if this was really a party or something else. He didn't like the vibe. He wanted to leave after 20 minutes. But he didn't leave, did he? No, she said. He was asked to stay. The prosecutor narrowed her eyes. By who? Alicia looked straight at Diddy. By him. The courtroom gasped. She continued, detailing how Justin had quietly tried to exit multiple times. He kept saying something felt wrong. He didn't like how Cassie looked. He didn't like the way security kept blocking doors. He asked me, why does this feel like a trap? The silence that followed was deafening. Did you report this to anyone at the time? The prosecutor asked. Yes, Alicia said. I emailed his management the next morning, but nothing came of it. They told me to stay quiet. The prosecutor presented an email, time-stamped, verified. In it, Alicia wrote, Justin was very uncomfortable at the party. He said he felt unsafe. He said Cassie looked scared. Please, don't send him to these events anymore. The jury sat still. No movement, no blinking. The prosecutor asked the final question. Why are you coming forward now? Alicia didn't hesitate. Because I saw a young man try to walk away from something that scared him. And now I see a grown man finally brave enough to say he did. I owe him the same courage. The courtroom erupted in applause. The judge, visibly moved, allowed it for a full 10 seconds before calling order. Outside, the media storm exploded. Headlines screamed, assistant confirms Bieber felt trapped at Diddy's party. Diddy blocked Justin's exit. New testimony shakes case. Alicia Mendez speaks and confirms everything fans feared on social media. Fans rallied behind Justin. We hear you'll be trended globally. Celebrities began posting cryptic messages of support. Even artists who had remained quiet, like Usher and Ariana Grande, like posts praising his bravery. Justin, watching everything unfold from a private location, issued a brief, emotionally raw statement through his legal team. I was young. I didn't understand what I saw. I just knew it didn't feel right. I stayed quiet because I was scared. I'm not scared anymore. The internet stood still. For Cassie, this was vindication. Her legal team publicly thanked Justin, Alicia, Marie, and every other witness for standing beside truth, even when it was inconvenient. Diddy's empire, once untouchable, was collapsing in real time. Sponsors dropped. Business partners disappeared. Former allies distanced themselves. And rumors swirled that more celebrities might soon step forward, names bigger than anyone had imagined. The trial entered its final week. The judge called for closing arguments. The prosecution leaned into the mic and said, this case is not about one night, it's about a pattern of control, of silence, of fear, and now, finally, of truth. The defense tried to paint Diddy as misunderstood, a flawed man in a ruthless industry. But the jury, many believed, had already seen too much, heard too much, felt too much. As court adjourned, Justin released one final post, a photo of a sunrise over the ocean with a simple caption, truth always rises. And with that, the world exhaled. Because this wasn't just the fall of a mogul, this was the moment. A global pop star, once trapped in the shadows of power, chose to step into the light. And in doing so, he helped countless others find the courage to do the same. This wasn't just a trial, this was history. And now it's your turn to speak. The dust may still be settling, but the echoes of what just happened in that courtroom will be felt for years. Justin Bieber's name being dropped in Diddy's trial wasn't just a shocking twist. It was a cultural shift, a symbol that no amount of fame, silence, or fear can bury the truth forever. In one moment, a pop icon who had stayed quiet for nearly a decade stood up and changed everything. He didn't accuse, he didn't exaggerate, he just told the truth. And in doing so, he gave voice to others too afraid to speak. From Cassie's tearful escape, to Marie's haunting logbook, to Alicia Mendez's chilling confirmation. This trial has peeled back the curtain on a hidden world. A world where power protects predators. where silence is currency and where even the brightest stars are forced to dim just to survive. But not anymore, because now the silence is broken. And Diddy, he's no longer the man behind the curtain. He's the one under the spotlight. And the world is finally watching. So now we turn to you. Do you believe Justin Bieber told the full truth? Or is there more still buried beneath the surface? Do you think more names will be revealed before this trial ends? And was this a rare moment of courage or the beginning of a much bigger unraveling in the entertainment industry? Let us know in the comments. We want your thoughts, your reactions, your theories, and don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe for the next chapter in this ongoing saga, and tap that bell so you never miss a single twist. Because if this trial has taught us one thing, it's this: the silence is over, and the truth is just getting started.